Tune in to the Love Power Show, where we discuss all of the relevant issues. Everything from the sublime to the ridiculous. We make the sublime clear, and we make the ridiculous make sense. Every Sunday from 12 to 12:30, right here, WMQM 1600 AM on your radio dial. And the number to call is 901-327-3400. And guess what? We have guest speakers who are exciting, interesting, fascinating, knowledgeable, and I might add, thought-provoking. And if you want to be a guest on the show, give us a call right here, 901-644-0186. And you might even want to advertise on the radio show. Tune in on the internet, WMQM 1600 AM. And you can also see the show on YouTube, where we will be debating all of the issues, taking positions, defining and defending those positions, offering analysis, presenting solutions, and we provide leadership as well. Vox Populi, the voice of the people. And I want to say something about Brother Jabril, who's in the studio with us. Marcus Garvey said one time, he asked a question. Where are your schools? Brother Jabril said right here. Located on Parkway in Lauderdale. Also in the studio is Brother Baruti from Memphis, Kwanzaa International. And as usual, brother, friend, comrade, Dr. Talut El-Amin. We are expecting Brother Paul Outlaw, and I might tell you he's a homeopathic researcher, and we hope he shows. And if he doesn't, we wish him well. Perhaps he will be showing up pretty soon. Today we're going to be talking about the history of Beale Street / gentrification. What it once was, what it is today, and the way in which it became what it is. And last week, we had a word of the day last week. No one called and gave us that definition. And we said it was capitalism, but no one called and gave us the meaning. So since they didn't, may I take the pleasure. Capitalism, an economic system characterized by open competition and a free market by the private or corporate ownership of the means of production and distribution. Since no one did that last week, I'll take care of it this week. And our word for today is gentrification. And someone may want to call us and give us that definition / meaning. But I want to go first to Brother Jabril. Start us off, Brother Jabril, talking about the history of Beale Street / gentrification, what it once was, how it came to be what it is today, and let's go around the block.
Let me say that when I was a little boy, running barefoot on the city streets of Memphis, up and down Poplar, because I was born in Dunlap,
okay,
it's North Memphis, and up and down Poplar, Union Street, and then I guess maybe after I got about 9 years old, I made it to Beale Street.
Okay.
And I guess that was about in the early 50s. I remember when Beale Street used to be Beale Street, the entertainment district for black folks in the city. Mm-hmm. That was a system of economics being prevailed there by the black entrepreneurs that had businesses in and around Beale Street, Hernando, and back to 4th Street, going all the way back down to what is now Calhoun. Mm-hmm. I remember places like the Hitching Post, and I remember, Coke Peppers. The Velvet Glove, was a club that I frequented after I got about 17, going in legally. But these are, and all the pool rooms, because I was a young pool hustler.
Okay.
So Beale Street didn't change until 1969 or 70, when Nixon, President Richard Nixon, came into the presidency in 68, and he institutionalized an urban renewal program. And as far as I'm concerned, the urban renewal program of Richard Nixon was a program of destroying every known black congregating corner or structure or in this country. Twist and Vine, Bill and Hernando, Florida, Soda, everywhere that I know that blacks congregated, the urban renewal program tore down buildings and caused isolation of those spots. You know, so that's to me when the whole thing changed here in Memphis. And you know, places like, I think one place was kind of preserved in a way, but not really, and that was Mississippi and Walker. You know, that place went a pretty long ways on into, you know, that whole urban renewal program. You know, they tore down Beale Street. Tore down Beale Street, they made that end of downtown desolate. You know, even the Peabody closed, and a whole bunch of things happened. You know, of course I remember Hernando going all the way up to Gaelson. You know, the Club Handy's was on at that time. Club Handy was on Hernando, this side of Beale Street, south side of Beale Street. Where the Club Flamingo, the Flamingo room was on the north side of Beale Street on Hernando. Owned by Clifford Miller. That's where I remember Bowleg and all those old musicians, Fire Royals, and a whole bunch, you know, people played music in those clubs, you know. So as it stands, when Richard Nixon got elected in '68, he came in, he institutionalized a certain kind of urban renewal program, and it tore down everywhere that black people congregated in this country. Okay. Major urban areas where black people,
okay,
majority.
Let's go now to Brother Baruti.
Yes, sir. You know, Brother Jabril was talking about nightclubs. I've never been to a nightclub in my life. I've never
You're good,
desired to go.
The same.
Yeah, never
really?
desired to go to
Well.
one. But I do study history. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad say history is best able to reward our research.
Okay.
And I study history, and what they did to Beale Street is what they've always done to the indigenous people and the disenfranchised people, not just this country, but the entire earth.
Sure.
They have gone in, and one thing they'll do is they'll put no resources in your community, so it becomes devalued due to deterioration. And
they as in the government?
They as in the United States
government, okay.
And the powers that be.
Powers that be, okay.
And once it's devaluated, then they'll condemn it, and you don't have the resources to put it in a livable state.
That's right.
Okay.
And then once they take it over, then they give it to who they want to give
That's
it to.
so true. That's so true.
And that's what they did with Hurt Village, down where they call it Greenlaw area.
Uptown.
But they've done it all over the country.
Sure. Yeah.
Even the Indians were disenfranchised and put on reservations, and then once they found the reservations had uranium and other resources on it, then they want to get them off the reservation.
Move them somewhere.
Somewhere else. So what they did on Beale Street is just a pattern of what they've done throughout their existence on the earth.
That is so true. That is so true.
Dr. Talut?
Well, Beale Street not only at one time was the entertainment center of African Americans in Memphis, but it was also the cultural center. Okay, Ida B. Wells newspaper had an office on Beale Street. The first mosque or masjid in Memphis, Tennessee, was located on Beale Street. The First Baptist Church, Dr. Church was center of operation and business was on Beale Street. In other words, Beale Street meant more to African Americans than the whole city of Memphis means to us today.
Think about it.
Okay, yeah, you know, just again ponder on that.
Okay.
Beale Street was our heartbeat at one time. Okay, but like Brother Baruti had mentioned that whatever African Americans established as their own is taken away. Okay, because African Americans are a key element in the American conscience, the psyche of America, a key element in the development of America. African Americans interject tremendous value in anything that they take part in.
That's true.
Tremendous value. Though we don't recognize it, other people recognize it. So, in essence, we built Beale Street to be taken over by the 1%ers or the middle class rich folks. And that's exactly what has happened. Okay, Beale Street doesn't belong to us anymore. It's part of the gentrification process that we mentioned earlier. It's part of a process that's been going on for nearly 25 years, taking away the things that poor people have, redeveloping it, adding value to it, and then displacing the poor people that once owned it. That's the essence of gentrification. Okay? In other words, another way of putting it, white middle class people are better than poor African American people. So therefore, make things better for the middle class rich whites, move the blacks out, then the neighborhood becomes more valuable.
Okay.
Insane racism, as in no other form of a word that you can find.
That's right.
It's the greatest racism practice in modern day time, gentrification.
Okay. We've got 17 minutes, and here's a question for all of us. What role did and does African Americans play in this gentrification process in terms of all of our gifts and talents that we offer this country as far as being taken away or given away, and what should be our responsibility and going forward in terms of those gifts that we possess, taken away, given away, or fight for? Brother Jabril, come on with it.
You know, we've been in America. Matter of fact, I think we've been here too long.
Yes, sir.
But,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We have been trendsetters of the culture and the culture of America overall. And when it comes to entertainment, you know, we have been on the forefront of that. We everything that we have done or came up with has been in vogue. Everybody has copied it or capitalized on it. You know, and a lot of times the reason that we can't own it, so to speak, is because we don't have the capitalistic system have a sophisticated route you have to take in order to own certain things. Certain men have been killed for trying to own just their music. Sam Cooke, Otis Redd. I see where Ray Charles escaped it. I guess his sophistication and his knowledge and information was a little bit superior to that time. And he was able to obtain his masters and so on and this kind of thing. But what I'm saying is that, you know, it ain't no coincidence that every time we embark on a certain thing, that the assassin is not lurking in the wing to take us out. But we can't be afraid, because we got generations of children that's got to go behind us. We got to blaze the trail for them.
Okay, children.
You know, so it's incumbent of us to do what we can. But that's the essence. It's just that we can create it, but we can't lay total claims to it that's going to value it for us.
Brother Jabril, what about that? How about that? Talk about the solution for African Americans relative to everything that we've said, including the topic.
You know, in the black community, especially in a city like Memphis, where black people are the majority, they're still talking about minority contracts, which I think they should award it to white people because they are the minority themselves.
Okay.
So the majority contracts should come to us because it is our city. But because we have no political power, we got black folk in office that are controlled by other powers,
Sure.
we have no political power, then we can't thrive. Even the church has put our people to sleep, trying to get to heaven, but can't get down the street in a safe manner.
So,
Think on it.
it is true then what Karl Marx said a long time ago.
I think
Religion
I think that
is the opiate of the people. You said the church has put African Americans to sleep.
I think what they've done is they're teaching us mythology instead of true religion. You know, the stuff they say, you know, love everybody. God don't even love everybody. How can you be better than God? God killed people he don't love. I mean, he drowned Pharaoh's army. They didn't have no pool party. He drowned them.
Okay.
Okay, so God killed people. He don't love everybody. How can you do that?
Think about it.
God don't love his enemy.
Okay.
What you got
So-
doing loving yours? And people, you know, common sense says you should come together in unity. The Koreans come together.
Okay, unity.
The Jewish people come together. The Hispanic people come together.
Okay,
But
so
when we think by coming together, we always prejudice, racism.
okay,
we-
right. So we have no political power.
No.
/ no unity.
No unity.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Say something real quick. We've got 13 minutes or so about the acquisition of political power and unity, and then I want to go to Dr. Talut along that same vein.
In the United States Congress, most of the congressmen are paid for by lobbyists.
That's true.
Most of them are Jewish. And if they don't vote to support Israel, they will not be reelected to those offices.
That's true.
The same thing in Memphis. Money under the table is guiding the direction of the politicians in this city and in this state.
Okay.
It's not the people. It's no longer for the people and by the people. It's for the lobbyists, for the rich,
Okay.
for the 1%.
Okay.
And until we make our politicians accountable to us as people, then we don't need them in office.
Okay.
You can't do it without unity, brother.
Make the politicians accountable to African Americans as part of what we're talking about. Bro, Dr. Talut, political power, the acquisition of political power, the acquisition of unity, and he said something about politicians, black politicians not being accountable to African Americans. Come on.
Yeah, you know, Spike Lee introduced the word gentrification, you know, last week in social
Yeah.
media, and it's been a buzz ever since.
Right, and that's why we were talking about it.
Yeah,
He was on
it's a
YouTube.
profound concept
Right.
that we have to deal with right here in our city,
have
like
to.
they're dealing with in New York,
Right.
and other places.
Harlem and
right?
Brooklyn.
Yeah, but the point is, the psyche of black politicians in Memphis is the worst since our introduction into the American way of life 400 years ago and more. Okay, their minds are bound in the concept that white people are better than black people. See,
It was
Robert
never
Lister-
stronger. Wasn't it stronger in the early 1800s? At the
No,
advent
no,
of Memphis?
no.
Black
no.
politicians
It's
have
the
never been
worst.
stronger, never been courageous. Go ahead.
Yes, but my point is, the worst mindset politically among black people and black elected officials is today,
Yeah.
okay, versus 450 years or 500 years ago. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, now, Robert Liskin is the money man of Memphis. He's been sitting in office since the Harrington era.
Tell us about him.
I'm telling you about him right now.
Come on. I can't wait.
Harrington introduced gentrification as his plan for the development of Memphis. Okay, meaning now we just gave the definition of gentrification.
Right.
Look downtown Memphis, he's successful. He has displaced black people, made downtown Memphis area a better place for middle class whites, right? He has redeveloped all that area through Robert Lipscomb's office. Okay? And Mel Warden is extending the process of gentrification. That's a terrible mindset when it comes to black citizens of Memphis, of which we've already established is the majority, with Brother Baruti again. Okay?
Yeah.
We're the majority of this city. We're taxpayers of this city. But the black elected officials look down on the black citizens and look up at the white citizens. There's no balance in there at all. Zero balance. The weight is all on the side of where the whites are. The pedestals swing far over in their direction
Okay.
and doesn't swing back in our direction at all.
Okay.
So that is the epitome of gentrification.
Okay.
That is the epitome of why black Memphians are struggling so hard and not able to make it. And it's all based on how black youth are being prosecuted as criminals. See, all of that's a part of it. Prosecuted as criminals on BS charges, and the black community of Memphis are all looking like criminals. So therefore the white folks are looking good. So we take the city takes all of the tax dollars, improve an area for them, while rejecting and denying us our civil rights, really, our basic human rights.
Okay.
And it's our responsibility to flip that.
Okay.
Okay, we have to develop an attitude that we are angry. We are not going to accept this. And the political power of any people is their political brain power and their will to change.
Okay.
And that's what we have to develop, a will to change.
Okay. Brother Jabril.
I agree.
Yeah. What about that? Are the black politicians,
Well, you know,
profound statement, are they afraid? And should we, let me hit you with
Of
another
course.
question so when you take off you can really get into it.
Okay.
Should we join forces with brothers like Dr. Isaac Richmond? Is it our fault? And other black African American politicians are afraid.
Look.
And I think we said something about we have to be courageous and unafraid. Is that right? Go ahead.
we can go
Pardon
back
me for
in the
going on.
1800s. You know, Memphis
Hey, I like the
was established by some people who never have paid any attention to black people. Only way that black people have survived is that they was able to blend in with the socio-political structure. Most of that came from hand-in-hand plantation politics. You know, we have had strong black leaders, but they was towed down. Once upon a time, that was, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to call names now because I just won't do it, but there was a hitman in North Memphis, and there was a hitman in South Memphis. Any kind of black man that tried to rear his head to try to do something in the vein of liberating black people, they either got assassinated by these hitmen that was owned by the powers that be in this city. Now, those stories been told to me by more than one or two people, you know. But the fact remains is that plantation politics is the rule of the day here in Memphis. Always have been. Now, I'm almost 70 years old. I've seen the whole thing. So, therefore, what I'm saying to you is that the reason Lipscomb can take all the taxpayer monies and give it to white folk, carte blanche, because we're not a unified force, demanding or asking any questions, because he's been set up to do that. He delivered the pyramid to what's the name of that place? Bass Pro. You know, he delivered the baseball field down here to the AutoZone people, the FedEx complex over there. All that was taxpayer money used in the beginning. Now they say, well, the city gonna buy it back, you already own it. If you put 70, 60, 80 million dollars into a facility like that, you already own it on the front end. Now you gotta put another $80 million back on top of that to so-called own it? What kind of schizophrenic politics are you playing? You know what I'm saying? So man, my thing is that, you know, the plantation political apparatus is still at play here. What we have to do, we have to unify ourselves and have a plan. So when the question come up, and what do you want? This is what it is. Okay. You take this proposal and go where you got to go with it, Mr. Lipscomb, or anybody else.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And when you come back with something positive.
Okay.
Or else. You know, we had never been able to be in a position to do that.
Ultimatum.
Say or else.
Yes, or else.
You know, we just can't let you keep on running herd over black folk like you're doing. It's the children that I'm concerned about. And that's what I'm advocating for every time you see me.
Okay.
I'm advocating for the children. Some of them ain't even born yet.
Yeah. Brother Baruti.
Yes, sir. You know,
What should African Americans do going forward? Talk about the solution. Whose responsibility is it?
let's look at an example of corrupt politicians. In Governor Christie's state, right now, he's under fire.
He's under fire.
Sure.
And one of the incidents they just brought up on MSNBC was this friend of his, this Samson, who's in a law firm that does a lot of lobbying for the governor. He was allowed to get some parking lots from the Port Authority. Normally rent for $900,000 a year, he got it for $1.
Think about it. Think on it.
A chance to make millions of dollars, but because of some wasn't under the table, they actually voted for it. He voted for it, even though he should have recused himself from the voting process. But again, you know, after he got into office, his law firm received millions of dollars from this governor. That same thing happens in Memphis. You pull the cover back, and you'll find out that no city is immune to that. All of them are the same. So unless we hold our politicians accountable to our people, you're going to have that corruption, and you're going to continue to have people in poverty where they should not be.
That's right.
They don't want to solve that situation with poverty.
And the fact is, and I've been a part of Beale Street a long time, in the organization structure of it, long time, 20, 25 years. The most corrupt operation in the city of Memphis is Beale Street. Okay, in its present form.
Okay.
Okay, it's the most corrupt endeavor we've ever had.
It has not always been that way. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're
But
talking
today-
about
Go ahead.
post reconstruction.
Go ahead. Yes.
I mean post redevelopment of the street.
Okay.
You know, so it's corrupt. In the beginning, the corruption started in the beginning of the redevelopment of Beale Street, and it has gone on until today. Okay, so, but as far as the gentrification process, not only are they wanting to claim and take the street, and when I say they, I mean the 1%ers or the middle class whites or whatever want the street to become theirs. They want to kick African Americans off the street. So they concoct all kinds of policies, guidelines, rules, and laws, and all that kind of thing to persuade blacks not to come to the street or hold them extremely at zero tolerance if they violate any of those rules on the street. Okay? So it's a miserable process. It's a ridiculous process, and it's one that we have become silenced by. Most of us know the misconduct that's going on down there by police and by the administrators and the managers of the street, but we're silent. Because really, as I said earlier, Beale Street is dearer to us than the whole city is, as far as cultural entertainment and the likes. Okay, so we want Beale Street. Okay, and we're going to get Beale Street, but we can't get it if we remain silent and allow these people to do whatever they want to, however they want to, and practice outright racism and discrimination. I'm talking outright. Come up with a policy where they know for a fact that African Americans are tied to the behavior of the market. Okay? African Americans like to come to Beale Street at a certain time. So at a certain time, they put a stiff penalty. You got to be searched, shaken down, and all this kind of stuff to get on the street. Outright racism, and we sit back and accept that mess.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And we have to turn that around.
Unfortunately, we come to the end of another great and informative show. And let's take this up again next Sunday and talk about the first step. Actually talk about the first step and actually do it.